Today, the Archdiocese of Chicago has asked that all the churches in the diocese ring their church bells 3 or 5 times a day to express a solidarity with parishioners who aren't able to access the church. I think this is a good idea, and it also underlines the significance of bells in church history. Merton said, Thomas Merton, who I have his marvelous book, Thoughts in Solitude. I bought this book many, many years ago because you can see there's a price tag of 50 cents on this dull paperback. But in it, he writes that bells are the voice of our alliance with God. It keeps reminding us every day, 3 or 5 times a day, okay, there's all these worldly problems, but bingo, this is what it's all about, to bring us back to what really matters in our lives. Hundreds of years ago, bells determined the boundaries of where we lived. If you could hear the bells of St. Alphonsus, you belonged to this part of town, or you belonged to this part of the county. When you could no longer hear those bells, but you could hear the bells of St. Joachim, then you belonged to another county or another town. It was that significant. Nowadays, we have electronic switches. Most of the churches have electronic switches that will ring the bells for them. Some of the churches, and I've played at several of them, that still have the old rope that you would jump on and hope that you remember to let go before it went back up to ring the bell. It's always been a very dangerous vocation and profession. Victor Hugo, with his story about Notre Dame, shows how dangerous that was with Quasimodo when he'd been there for many, many years and without a vacation. You know, this wouldn't happen these days in our dioceses, but and he asked the pastor, the archbishop, if he could have a vacation, and the pastor said, of course, but you have to find somebody to replace you yourself, and you have to pay them. Again, this would never happen in our time, but so Quasimodo put the word out on the street and that he needed somebody and would train them. And one gentleman came and said, I think I can do that. So he decided to train him. And he went up the stairs, many, many flights of stairs, up to the belfry of Notre Dame. And Notre Dame does not have ropes. I mean, this is not some of your Anglican churches. It does not have ropes. Quasimodo shows him how he's going to do this. And he says, what you do, you put on this helmet of iron, and you brace yourself against this wall, and with all your might, with both of your feet, you kick that bell, and it goes flying back and comes back, and you put your head down, and it rings against your helmet, and the sound is glorious. Yeah, you have a little, these days we would call it a concussion, but back then, who knows? And you only do it 3 times a day, so what's the problem? So he shows the guy, and the guy says, I think I can do this. So Quasimodo goes on his vacation. The first day, the new guy climbs all these flights of stairs, gets up to the belfry, gets ready. It's almost 6 o'clock in the morning. He's got to ring the bell. He goes, oh, crap, I forgot the helmet. I forgot my helmet. I can't go back now. It's almost 6 o'clock. I can't screw up this first day on the job. So he gets in the belfry. He braces his back against the wall. With all of his might, he kicks the bell. It goes flying, comes back, hits him in the head, knocks him out of the belfry, out of the window of the belfry, down who knows how many flights, smack on the pavement below. And people, it's 6 a.m, people are going to work. They look and they all come running over and they go, "Who is this guy?" And everybody looks around. One guy finally says, "I don't know, but he's a dead ringer for the Quasimodo." Now there's another story. He comes flying down this belfry, the steeple, flat on the ground. Smack. People are going to work at 6 a.m. They come running over. They go, "Who is this guy?" And one person looks around and goes, "I don't know, but his face rings a bell." God bless.